Hello, my name is Nancy. I'm an educator, a lifelong learner, a mother, a grandmother. I like to garden. And I'm also the author of this book, Keeping Kids and Teens Safe and Happy, Helpful Tips for Parents and Grandparents. And I wrote this book to try to help families identify potential hazards in the backyard, in the home, and outdoors. And there are many different topics that I cover in this book. It's almost 300 pages. It's also available if you want to read it at the C.H. Booth Library in Newtown, Connecticut. It's a part of their collection, which I'm very proud of. And I've spoke about this topic before, but I want to bring it up again, and that's falling. Falls are extremely dangerous. Sadly, a child fell last week in Connecticut and died. I don't know the particulars of the story, but now that it's the warm weather and windows are open, be very, very careful around open windows. Make sure you have guardrails on windows above a certain feet. So this is a topic in this book, the dangers of falling. So please try to get a copy and read the copy in the library, because there are a lot of tips. There are a lot of helpful tips and reminders for families. Another topic I want to talk about today is something I alluded to in the last show, and that was Pope Leo XIV's new encyclical that was just released called Magnificent Humanity. And he believes, as I do, that AI, artificial intelligence, needs global regulation. And today I want to read a quote from that encyclical and then talk about a specific topic that can be very harmful to teenagers and young adults. And the quote from his encyclical begins like this: "Having a personal mobile device at too early an age and using it without adult supervision can exacerbate young people's vulnerabilities, foster addiction, and expose them to isolation, bullying, cyberbullying, as well as pressure to share intimate images or sensitive information." He could have mentioned that also there have been many teenagers who have committed suicide. So tragic, so sad, because of relentless bullying and harassment. Bullying that doesn't stop 24 hours a day. There's a chapter in the book about bullying, but I want to speak today about a specific aspect, one aspect of bullying, and why some teens are bullied. And that's because of the sharing of sexual images. In March 2026, there was an excellent article in the New York Times titled, "Many Teens Face Strong Peer Pressure to Share Sexual Images, Study Finds." And what did the studies find? That teens said they are more likely to share sexual photos with a dating partner or when they were worn down with repeated requests. Worn down with repeated requests. How sad. Most people thought that online predators are a big problem with the sharing of images, but it's also boyfriends, which is really shocking. No parent wants to deal with this, but deal with it you must, because in a survey of more than 6,200 teens and young adults ages 18 to 28, teens said they experienced image-based sexual harassment before turning 18. They experienced image-based sexual harassment before the age of 18. That's just sickening. More than 90% of the women were harassed, and half of them did it. Harassed by a dating partner or a boyfriend to share sexual images of themselves. Those who shared photos were more likely to skip school or have thoughts of self-harm. And I've read many cases when a girl shared a sexual photo with her boyfriend or dating partner after being, again, worn down, repeated requests from them, and then it was shared with his friends. And once it was shared, it goes all over. And then the bullying starts of that girl. It's horrific. So you know how that story ends. After relentless bullying, girls go into depression. They need help sometimes, psychological help. And the worst case scenarios is they commit suicide. Now, this is even a problem for 13 to 17-year-olds. 13. Those conducting the studies were surprised again that girls could be worn down by dating partners to share images. Warn the teenage and young adult girls in your life. Let them know how dangerous this is. Know what they're doing with their cell phones. Jeff Temple, a psychologist and professor, said, talking to your kids is the #1 thing you can do. Keep the lines of communication open. Talk to them about healthy relationships, healthy sexuality, and consent. And let them know what could happen if they ever make the mistake, and it is a serious mistake with serious consequences if they share sexual images of themselves. Always know who your teenage friends are, who their friends are, and what their friends are about. Always know what your daughter's friends and boyfriends do, what their hobbies are. Know their friends. Keep the conversation going. When I raised my sons, we lived in Brooklyn at the time. I knew there were kids in the neighborhood that were doing things that I didn't approve of, taking drugs, smoking marijuana, whatever was the case. And I wouldn't let my sons hang out with those kids. I tell people, and I was half kidding, but I said I would have nailed my front door shut because I wouldn't let them hang out with those kids. You just have to know who their friends are. And so this is a very serious topic. I will discuss bullying in the future. You need to talk to your kids about this. It's very, very important. It could really destroy their lives. This is a serious topic. And I'm glad that Pope Leo put that paragraph in his encyclical so that more will be discussed. This encyclical will be analyzed and discussed, not only in Catholic circles, but in other circles as well. And it needs to be discussed. I'll always end with a story from the back of the book, a topic from the back of the book, which is how to keep kids happy and engaged and fulfilled and healthy. And the topic I'm going to talk about today is called The Power of Positive Thinking. That's the chapter title. And everyone remembers Norman Vincent Peale. He was an American Protestant minister and author. And he wrote a best-selling book, The Power of Positive Thinking. And he said, and I quote him in the book, if you change your thoughts, you will change your life. His best-selling book, written in 1952, became a phenomenal bestseller. More than 5 million copies worldwide have been sold, and it's still popular in bookstores and on Amazon. It has been translated into over 40 languages. The message resonated then and now. When you approach life with a positive outlook and try to be optimistic in the face of challenges, rejection, loss, disappointments, and failures, we help ourselves physically and mentally. People who look on the bright side of things and remain optimistic can cope better with life's ups and downs. Positive thinkers deal better with stress, find more meaning in challenges, remain resilient, remain healthier, and have better relationships. We want to encourage our children and our grandchildren and our friends to be more resilient and to embrace positive thinking because it will help them throughout their life. Instill in children a positive attitude, and it will be a great benefit to them. Using positive self-talk, positive affirmations, and becoming more aware of your thoughts can help with positivity. It seems our brains, which is very strange to me, are wired to hold on to negative thoughts. So it's important to change that negative bias. We tend to ruminate on bad thoughts and experiences, which is not productive and it's not good for you. So you can change the negative bias by trying to find good in every situation. Try concentrating on more positive thoughts and experiences and holding those thoughts longer. And that's according to another best-selling author and psychologist, Dr. Rick Hanson. He said, teach children to pay attention to and savor positive experiences. Feel gratitude for the goodness and blessings in your life. You can view Dr. Hanson's videos on YouTube. I think they're very helpful as he tries to assist people in managing negativity and anger. And he also has a website, rickhanson.com. So teach children to be aware of their negative thoughts. Encourage them to challenge negative self-talk and their inner critic, and help them to realize those negative thoughts about themselves are not true and can be harmful. Teach them to think positively about themselves and look for positive things in the world to discuss with them. Tell them news stories with positive aspects to them, and highlight all the positive aspects about them and about what makes them special and what makes them unique. So try to help them to live every day optimistically by approaching a new day with a positive attitude. I have a small notebook, and in it I write a lot of affirmations and scripture verses that I like that give me courage and inner strength, and I try to recite them every morning. And maybe you can have your children do that and your teenagers. You know, just take a notebook and write a few affirmations, write a few positive scripture verses, and they can repeat them, or they can journal about them. Sometimes I also write about them in a journal. So that will give them more courage and more positivity in their life. The good news for grandparents is that positive thinking and attitudes have been shown to reduce memory loss, anxiety, and depression. Can it be possible to live longer by being more positive? And that's what the research states, so that's wonderful. So try to give your children small bits and pieces of information about how they can be more positive and how to include positivity in their life. Talk about positive things that have happened in the day to you or a family member, and try to keep them as positive as possible. And it'll make them happier. It'll give them happiness in their life. And that's what we want. We want our children to be happy and fulfilled and look for joy and gratitude. I also like to talk about a day trip that you can take with your children now that the weather is warm. It's great to get outdoors. In the last show, I talked about the benefits of sunshine, the benefits of being outdoors in nature, and how healing just being in nature can be. And walking is such great exercise. And today I'm going to talk about a farm, Grace Farms, in New Canaan, Connecticut. My daughter-in-law recently went there with her children, my grandchildren, and they loved it. They had a great day there. So it's free to visit. It's open to all ages. Again, it's called Grace Farms. They have biodiverse habitats that have been restored. They have 80 acres, including native meadows, woodlands, and ponds. There is a mile of walking trails. They have a website, gracefarms.org, for more information. So look for free things to do with your children that are going to enrich their lives, like a visit to Grace Farms. Now that the weather is getting nice, there are many, many trails in Connecticut. There are beautiful trails throughout the state of Connecticut that you can take your children walking on, and it will make them happier, and it'll boost their mood and lessen their anxiety. So I would like to talk about my website. I have a website, keepingkidsanteensafeandhappy.com. What's important on my website, and it's a work in progress, is that I have some very healthy recipes on there for soups, homemade soups. I'm a big proponent of having soup because you can put so many vegetables in it, and it's very healthy. And I like soup even in the summer. I eat soup all year round. Most people only like it in the winter or the fall, but it's a great way to get a lot of vegetables into your child's diet. So consider making soups. And also, if you're interested in my previous episodes, they're on YouTube. You just have to search Nancy Azzaro. Little by little, I'm putting up all the episodes on YouTube so they can be shared with a wider audience. And I will always end this show with blessings. and positive thoughts. And please read the dedication at the end of the show. This show and this book are dedicated, the series is dedicated to children. And I have them very close to my heart. And may I live with peace, and may you live with peace. May I live with goodness, and may you live with goodness. May I be kind to others, and may you be kind to others. May I be a healing presence for others, and may you be a healing presence for others. May I find meaning and purpose in my life, and may you find meaning and purpose in your life. May I remember to be grateful, and may you remember to be grateful. I'd like to thank Western Connecticut Community TV for their ongoing support, and also Lindsay, who helps me with this show. She's the director. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching this show. See you next time.